Hey, what's going on, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning into our virtual workshop today. We're talking about how to make money with your music, sync licensing secrets revealed with AD Johnson. My name is Reginald Titus Jr. We got AD in the house. What's going on, AD?
What's good? What's good?
Was good. Real quick, we'll talk about the foundation, Grinder Matter Foundation. Our mission is about having representation in front of and behind the camera, and how we do that. We support that mission by having virtual workshops like we're doing right now. We also have, like, when we're producing our film projects, we want kids that are interested in film, that are currently in college and want to work on film projects. They can come on our projects and work on it. Also, we have scholarships for our drone program. If you want more information, go to grindovermatter.org. Just hit the donate button, and anything that you donate will go to those programs. But of course, we have the special guest today, AD. We're going to jump into his bio real quick. Adrian Johnson, better known as AD, is the new manager of Sync for Mass Appeal, founded by Nas Jones and Peter Bittenbender. He started his music career as a founder of Chosen Musicians, doing music supervision for indie films like Natural Hair the Movie and TV shows, along with managing artists such as Joseph Solomon and D&Chi, pitching their music for sync opportunities. Previously, AD was the head of creative sync licensing at SoundCloud and music licensing executive at Universal Music Group. He has a strong passion for music and is devoted to making an impact on the culture. Let's go, man. You've been busy.
Yes.
Well, what we like to do here, we like to go right into the subject. We like to get right to it. So, what does it mean to get into sync films and TV? What exactly does that mean?
What that means is a music synchronization license, or sync for short, is a music license that is granted by the copyright holder, which is the artist, producer, the songwriters, for a particular composition, allowing the licensee, whether that be a studio or a video game commercial, whatever, to synchronize your music with some kind of visual media. So that's podcasts, that's social media campaigns, even live events and sports games. So a lot of that Super Bowl halftime show, like, they have to report that as a license, even all those in between cuts of, probably heard Kendrick Lamar's song 100,000 times in between different transitions. They have to report that to those various labels, and that's granted that license right to use that on that program. Live events has worked a little different, but overall, just giving you kind of perspective on where music can be synced: film, TV, trailers, commercials, video games, even podcasts, wherever. So that's it. That's what sync is, kind of for short.
And artists are getting paid, or owners of those copyrights are getting paid everywhere that's being played.
Yeah. So how it works is there's two parts of getting paid for sync. The best way is when you own your music. There's a master and there's a publishing side to a song. It's 100% master, 100% publishing. So when you actually get requests from a music supervisor, there's an upfront sync fee that happens. There's a quote that's given, approval process from all the rights holders and things like that. And what happens is you'll get an upfront sync fee, whether it be whatever amount that is, negotiated upon, because there is no rate cards, by the way, in sync. Everything is negotiable, but there are some standard rates for different media platforms. So you get that. And so when you get that upfront sync fee, so once that happens, that's upfront. But then, like, for a TV show or for a live event, or even sometimes even venues, but commercials, when you have your music uploaded to your ASCAPs and your BMIs and everything is registered, you also get what you call on the back end performance rights access. So yeah, that's why when music supervisors asking for your PRO, they'll ask for your PRO number. They'll ask for which PR you with, whether it be ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, or various ones, whatever you with. They'll ask for that information, add it to the Q sheet, and they actually have to report that to the studio so they can report that to your various PROs. And I don't know the actual breakdown on number, just like we don't know when a music is streamed to Spotify. We don't always know the total breakdown, but there is some kind of formula they use and distribute based on the streaming numbers of that particular program, whether it be a TV show or a movie, of the performance rights that you'll get rewarded on the back end. And so that's two ways you get paid off top on the song.
And you said PR number. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, the PRO number. So your performance rights organization number. So ASCAP, BMI. It's like your bank. It's like your account number for that PRO. So it's like a bank has account numbers. PRO has their. It's like I forgot the actual term for the numbers, but it's whatever number they give you that's associated that when you register for your BMI ASCAP, the music supervisors ask for that so they can report those who's on the writers on this composition and how to distribute the rights, because every song you have splits. Who whether the producer gets 50 and the artist gets 50. There's only two. There's other songwriters. Then you may divvy it up 33.33 and so forth. But whatever those splits are, you register with your PRO, and then they have to submit those same things and those performing rights to those PROs, and that's why they ask for that information. So that's two ways to get paid, like upfront, and also when it's placed or TV show or film, you get paid on the back end as well.
Hey man, there's no excuse not to make some money out here.
Yeah.
We had a question. The fingers. You're more than welcome to share that link if people missed it.
Marcus? That's Marcus. I was just on this panel back in now. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're more than welcome to send that link if it didn't show up in the comments. Just to give you a heads up on that. Can you talk about some of the TV and film projects that you've worked on and the ones at your liberty to talk about?
Yeah. I always want to start off with one of the groundbreaking projects I worked on was Natural Hair, the movie with Reginald Titus and Ashanti. Like, I believe that film, and also the two short films, whether it be the that was the start from where It's Complicated and then Wrong Girl. Like, working on those films leading up into the two shorts and to the Natural Hair, the movie, that's why I got to LA. So those always will be a part of my history. Being able to, we all fresh off into the industry, learning our way, and wanted to use that as a launching pad for our various careers. And so I learned a lot during those process when it comes to on camera, live performances, working with a streaming platform that was very strenuous about the information they needed, whether it be the agreements for every artist. Every song had to be accounted for on the cue sheet. So it was pretty cool to understand that we did that independently, living in Dallas. And then that's what got me to LA. So I always talk about Natural, the movie, It's Complicated and Wrong Girl, because, that was also a discovery platform. That showed my level of artists that I had relationships with, because a lot of those artists, show love and allowed us to use those music in those projects. So I always talk about those projects. More recently, I always talk about a lot of the independent artists I work with. Just recently, last month, they Rhythm and Flow Season 2, I was able to get 23 independent songwriters and producers and artists into because of my relationship with the music supervisor, into the Netflix Rhythm and Flow Season 2, 23 placements for one company, for my sync agency, Chosen Musicians.
Let's go.
All independent. So I always make sure I put that out there, because that's very important to just show support, because the music supervision community, they love independent artists. They love discovery. So it was very cool to kind of work with them on that. Also last year, I was able to get my first placement on one of the biggest TV shows out there, Abbott Elementary. Dope show, of course. And it was another independent artist. What happened is, the top of that year, there's this artist I worked with. He's from Philly, Doc Cromwell. And I was able to pitch that from an angle, because Abbott Elementary is based in Philly. And I was able to pitch him to the music supervisor based on a relationship, by the way, that I worked with him in the past. I worked with this music supervisor with some other films that I worked on, with a House Party, the last House Party that came out when I was at Universal. But I always kept in touch with that music supervisor and pitched him. I said, hey, I got an artist from Philly. I literally said he would love to be on the show, whatever placement you have. And it was actually at a good moment. It was a moment where it was backgrounds. They was at a party, and you heard this song playing at one of the school dances I guess they had at the time. So it was a pretty cool finale episode of the last season of Abbott Elementary. That was a dope sync for this artist. Being from Philly, that meant a lot for him. I got some recent placements with the new show. What was it called? Cruel Intentions. Another two independent artists that just came out last year. What's so funny? That music supervisor I met through Clubhouse, by the way. during the pandemic.
Hey man,
With the
yeah.
relationship, here we are 4 years later. He linked syncing two of my songs, two of my artist songs into that new show. And then I think then also I always reference the gaming one. 2 years ago, I was working independently and got two back-to-back placements on NBA 2K Season 7 and Season 8, where there was that trailer promo. So if you're a gamer, you play NBA 2K, throughout the year there's seasons. So there's like Season 1, Season 2, leading up into, they always knew like there's new updates, there's maybe new rewards and things like that. And so I was able to pitch that to NBA 2K back to back. They just NBA has to approve it, but we go through the gaming company 2K and have my clients over there, and big shout out to them for showing love to an independent artist again. And that's a theme I want to always say. Like, it's always opportunity. You will see a lot of major artists, of course, placements, but there's so much opportunity for independent artists based on how you maneuver, how you get into certain relationships with sync agencies and things like that. But those are my favorite projects I worked on in the last few years. And also shout out to Bid for Love too. That was my first BET Plus movie that we got.
Wow.
That launched in June 2022. So that was dope. Shout out to Dr. London for that
Awesome.
that call to be me supervisor on that project.
Absolutely. We have Mrs. Music. She said it's the IPI number.
There you go, Tracy. Thank you. Shout out to NU.
Absolutely.
She has to know that because she's an A&R admin, so she got to know that information.
Okay. Guide us through the process on how you get a song placed.
So, how you get a song placed? Number one, if I'm an independent artist or producer, number one, I would go to. I'll also quickly understand I don't have the relationship with these music supervisors, and they are the most sought after people in the industry, especially more recently years because of the pandemic. When the live music industry shut down, a lot of people went over to, hey, how can I get placements? How else can I make money? Because we're at home now. Like, how can I get this? So the best, if I'm an independent artist, I will start with finding a sync agent. That's the first thing I would do, a sync agency. There's a lot of independent sync agencies. If you Google sync agencies, you'll see a lot of them come up. A few I'll make mention of today, of course, Mind Chose Musicians. I'm the founder of that. I have somebody else running that company, but that's definitely something that's another agency that I would recommend. Madfo Entertainment and also Blaze. Cool thing about it, we all also have a partnership amongst all three of us where we pitch each other's catalogs too. So it's very important. Like, you get with a sync agent, we all know each other anyway. So usually it'll be a non-exclusive agreement. Sometimes there's exclusive if it's like a big track or big song that we only want the rights for. You may get, hey, I'll give you 6 months to try to find a place before. But that's the first part, finding a sync agent to get your music right. Secondly, make sure all your business is taken care of on your music side. I think the biggest part of the music, the most fun part of the music creation process, of course, is making the song. But a lot of times the business is not handled, meaning you may leave the studio and man, damn, like, what is the actual splits for this song? Did I talk to the songwriters? I talk to the producer. Have that in play. Get something. There's apps for that. I don't know apps off the top of my head, but there's split apps where you can utilize certain like organization of what that, so you can handle that kind of faster paced. I know a lot of creators, they love to just create in the studio and not have to worry about the business. That's one way to help out. Get your manager involved. Get a friend involved. Say, hey, can you help me at the studio so we can get all this paperwork together? And so when I say splits, meaning get the splits agreements together with your producer. And then there's this one term I want to talk about, one-stop agreement. I'll kind of deviate on. I'll talk about that. One-stop means everybody still have their splits on the song, but you appoint one person, which is usually the artist or the producer, whoever's like looking to release it, to give approval on if a sync request came in. So it's important to have a one-stop agreement with your producers and other songwriters. And I say that because as independent artists, it makes it easier on the music supervisor when you work with major artists. That they music supervisors deal with a lot of labels, and they deal with a lot of record labels, and they, you hear about artists have multiple up to 12 writers sometimes on a track, sometimes at a label. They got to clear each person. Clear meaning they got to get approval for each person on that song. So as an independent creator, I will make sure that, hey, I'm going to be the point person. Everybody still get their splits. So if a sync fee comes in, you still get your cut, but appoint that person approval, whether it be the artist or the producer, the rights to work with the sync agency. So that way we don't have to stop at one person to give approval and then everybody still get paid. It just takes more time, more paperwork for the music supervisor. And when they come into us, when the music supervisor come to independent artists or a catalog or a song, they're coming because they want it easy for them to clear. Because a lot of times they may have a song they have to replace right away, and they don't have a lot of time. So they come to us for those type of help because it's easier if there's not a lot of agreements and not a lot of, like, say if you got an artist at Universal then another artist at Warner, you got to get approvals from both of those labels. Whereas independently, I can just get it from one person instead of, trying to chase down each one. And so that's secondly what I'll do. Get all that paperwork together. Make sure there's no samples in my music, no lyrical interpolations. Like lyrical interpolation meaning like utilizing like the biggest term right now is not like us. So you're going to hear a lot of songs that's going to try to interpret that song, and now you really can't because it's already copyrighted. That whole how he did it. You can do it in a lyric and a bar, but you still got to clear that. So having original music is the best option to go. Once that happens, you get all the music, all your paperwork together. You found your sync agent. And I want to also talk about real quick before I move on from that, delivery wise, the audio formats. The best way when you leave a studio to get your music ready and submit it to a sync licensed agent, we don't pitch Spotify links. We don't pitch streaming links. We need the actual audio files. The WAV files is the best one to send, the most quality to send. If you don't have that, MP3 is the second best option, but eventually you want to get that WAV file because if it gets confirmed, the editors on that project, they're going to ask for the WAV file and you got to deliver that. So you got to go back to your engineer and make sure you have all your WAV files. When you leave a studio and done with a song, make sure you have, if it's an explicit song, make sure you have the clean version, the instrumental, the acapella version. Those are four tracks that you should have available when you leave in the studio. And then when you're working, sometimes you'll need stems, consolidated stems, but only for certain media platforms like commercials, advertising. You've seen sometimes where you've seen like different, maybe sound bites or different like they edit around a certain song. That's because they have the stems of those songs and those trailers and those commercials. So those type of formats, you don't have to have those right away, but have those in a folder somewhere, whether it be Dropbox, Google Drive, wherever you store your music, have that in a folder ready to go just in case it's requested. Because when it's requested, sometimes we only have 24 hours or even the same day to submit, or we may lose that opportunity. So always have the consolidated stems up to 30, maybe 30 max stems versions of consolidated of that certain song, your track or you're working on. But the main thing leaving the studio to get started is your explicit, your clean version, instrumental, and acapella, just in case for that. And then once you get all that going, you deliver that to your sync agent. That's when the party gets started. Start pitching that sync agent. Start pitching your music for opportunities. I know it's a long-winded answer, but it's so much information that has to happen before because we're dealing with copyright. I'm not a lawyer or anything, but copyright is one of the most fringe upon like type of cases out here where everybody, may have some kind of ownership to something and they, have rights to that. So music, that's what it is. And so that's why I was real particular when it comes to that, having all your information together, because number one, it makes the music as a company, you have your stuff together. If anything, if they feel uneasy about it, they may say, oh, I don't know, there's some splits complication maybe here. They may not use your song. So having that information together and ready to go is very important when going out with a sync agent. And I always recommend having a sync agent, whoever you go with, to pitch your catalog. And that's how you get started, kind of like the quick start. But there's more to that, but we can talk about it later.
What's a good size catalog you think like a musician should start with? Should start out with 10, 150? Like what's a good kind of catalog where they should probably start getting serious about finding that agent?
I mean, on your first project, granted, the more songs you have, the more opportunity you have to possibly get pitched and get placements. Like sync licensing is a very, very patient game. So if you only got one song to pitch, even though you can start there, you can. Hey, I got this perfect. I think the song would be perfect for this TV show or whatever. We could pitch it there, but again, you're going against the world, meaning everybody's pitching music. We're going against labels. I'm going against publishers, major artists, other independent artists. So having just one song really shrinks your opportunity of possibilities of getting placements. So if I'm an artist, I always say, if I was a producer, I'll have at least a full album done, and various, various types of songs, topical songs, whatever, and just work from there. If you're an artist that say I'm just doing singles right now, well, make sure you have 10 singles there ready to go. And I think at least 10 to start. But I think the more you have, the more your opportunity is going to have. Because we get so many briefs, so many different opportunities, and sometimes we may not get a song for this love song that you made for Valentine's Day. It may take years to get that placement because there's so many other love songs out there. So learning about different music that's on these TV shows, listen to it music. If you play video games, getting synced on that video game or on that video game. Watch what P Valley or Abbey Elementary type of songs they're using. Start creating based on that, but always make it authentic to yourself. But I would start at least 10 to 20, have that ready to go. But again, patience is the name of the game because you're going against everyone. Like I always say, when you get a placement, we won against the world. I always say that. Like that's like you beat
the world.
You won for that one placement because it could have been anybody. It's not. You may have the perfect song. It don't matter. I feel like I had the perfect song for this last movie that just came out with Kiki and SZA. But we didn't get the placement for it. It was a perfect song though for it, but it's just, you just never know. But you continue to keep building your catalog and have more opportunities based on the music catalog you build out. That's the more opportunities you'll have for sure.
So Jalen, he asks, songs over instrumentals, or does it depend on need? Do you know
It
what he
does
means by
depend
that?
on need, but I say always have a full song. To me, have some type of lyrics. Whether it's not even, it don't even have to be a full song. Let's just say you have the instrumental, and then you may do a chorus to it. At least have that. But there are a lot of opportunities for instrumental tracks. But again, it's just it's a lot more for full songs, because now they'll say, like, they'll edit around like that chorus part. So having at least the catchy chorus, and or some vocalese meaning like oohs and ahs on the track that builds on the instrumental, that helps with pitching. You have more opportunity with some type of vocal than not. But there are a lot of opportunities for instrumentals for sure.
Okay, good stuff. Michael was asking, he says, "Are we all moving to Blue Sky yet?" Do you know what he means by that?
Blue Sky is that's the Twitter version, I guess, the OX. That has nothing to do with me or Nick Sing license right now. But
okay. That's so random. Okay, all right. I was like, maybe it's a code. I don't know.
Not yet, though. Not yet.
Okay. Maybe. What was I thinking about? Oh, that made me think. Maybe you could talk more from like the music supervision side. But when I'm like driving in a car and I'm thinking of like songs, I'll like create like a playlist, like kind of based like on the Apple playlist or whatever of songs. Like, that'd be nice to sync that one day. What are the realities of, say, from a filmmaking standpoint, somebody's working with a budget, say like $1 million or whatever the budget is. Like, what's the reality of, and who should the filmmaker talk to as far as like getting sync license and like being able to get certain songs into their movie? What is that process like?
Music supervisors is a director's or a filmmaker's definitely go to. Of course, there are a lot of directors and filmmakers with great music taste. Shout out to Stephen Cable Jr. He know what he wanted on Transformers. He's the director of Transformers. He knew exactly what he wanted 90s hip hop. I was holding it. It was shot in the 90s, that Transformers that he did. There's stuff like you, Reginald, you know exactly what you want, but you also want to come to a music supervisor because a lot of times the music supervisor, based on your budget, can give you a realistic overview of your budget versus what you want and versus what you can get. So if you have the bigger your budget, of course, the bigger a placement is going to happen. For example, like for a film, a major artist can. It depends on how big you are. And again, these are not like, oh, this is the number you get. But major artists, I can see anywhere from 20 to 40,000 aside. It all depends on how big your brand is. So if you knowing that, I'm knowing that going in, that's for one song. So 20,000 aside, that's $40,000 right there from your budget. And if you only have $100,000 of your budget, that's already 40% gone. So you got to really get with a music supervisor to come over with a strategy. A playlist. It's always good to start out of a playlist because what a playlist does as a filmmaker, it gives you your sound bed of what you want your feel, your mood of your film want to be. So sometimes you put a playlist together. It's a wish list, but hey, maybe there are some songs on there. We do have a budget. We'll allocate it this much to this budget. I really want this song, but hey, we may have to go get independent artists because they'll close at a lower rate, for independent, fee, and may have to just do the rest independent. So that happens sometimes, but it's always your wish list is based on your budget. So the bigger your budget, the more a filmmaker has the opportunity to sync the song he wants or she wants.
Man, I think about that too sometimes when I hear like just a real popular song on a movie. I'm like, ooh, I know that costs some money.
Oh yeah, that happens. I have, I'm not gonna share I give like one example of insecure, like not insecure, but obscure type songs. I really want to see more of that because you sing sometimes. It's not always good for obscure type music, but the jazz community, I want to see more jazz in that. If I ever get a project, I have a playlist specifically for that I know I'm going to go to this playlist if I ever get on a project that requires, hey, we want a fresh sound of jazz. Boom, I got you. I have I have an R&B playlist or hip hop playlist of songs that I feel like I want to. But you add them to the playlist, and one day you work on a project with a budget that you can do it. So.
Also, I think about like the songs that say it's a popular artist, but like say it's a popular artist from like the early 2000s or something like that. I'll listen to the album, but maybe like song number 8, it's a song that never was on the radio, was never released as a single. It's maybe like it's a good song, but nobody knows about it. But will the price still be premium because it didn't cross over to pop or anything like that? It's just one of those little album tracks. Does that even matter?
I think it matters more about the artist, but yeah, the bigger the song, the more money you're going to spend on it for sure. But it's also about the artist. Like name your top 10 artists. I'm pretty sure it don't matter what song you request from them, they're all going to be top dollar. They may go let it go for less on certain songs that wasn't as popular in their catalog, but it's still going to be top dollar for that. So sometimes it varies. It varies on the artist. But if it's a popular song, or versus the artist is a very well-known artist, it's the price still going to be pretty in the same tier. It's going to be a range of the same pricing on that. But again, you never know because some directors or filmmakers may have a friend who's that artist and may know someone that can talk to somebody and say, hey, can we figure out a way to get this in our budget? And that happens sometimes.
Okay. Mike had a question. If I have a track in a library that I think closely matches a brief, would pointing to that track on that library website be viable?
So when pitching, so I guess your library, meaning your catalog of music you have. When it comes to that, when you're pitching a song, sending a link to a music supervisor doesn't work. They'll listen, but they're moving so fast, you got to send the actual audio file. So it's always best to know how to pitch to a music supervisor, somebody that's understanding that. Or you mean a music production music library? Okay, so that's different. So if you have a song or production music library, I saw he posted pull back up. You have a song in a production music library. They use like production music library. That's another way to make money as an independent creator, by the way. That was something I was going to get into right now. I can get into right now. So
Okay.
I gave you the other way of getting your music and retaining your ownership with a sync licensing agent. You retain ownership. They just take a commission, and it's a non-exclusive right that you give to that sync licensing agency to pitch your music. Production music libraries, generally, they are buying ownership of your song, and you keep your writer share. What that means is they'll pay you an upfront work for hire fee. I've seen some of the bigger libraries can be $1,000 a song, smaller 500, it can be 200. All depends on how big the library, their budgets for giving out per song, right? If you're trying to pitch a song with a sync agent and outside of that library, you really can't do that. You have to look at your music agreement. In my experience, they own the rights to that song. You cannot pitch it. You're giving up your rights to that song when you give it to a production music library. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Like it's in agreements. I would go back and I would recommend that whoever asked that question, go back and look at your agreement or ask your library, say, hey, do I have the right to pitch this to other music supervisors without you guys? Generally, it's a no. They buying the song from you. They bought it from you and they own the rights. You keep your writer share, meaning if it gets placed, you still get your performance royalties on the back end. I've seen a lot of artists. That's why catalog is king when it comes to sync, or queen, however you want to say that. It's because the more songs you have in a production music library, the more money you're going to make on the back end. I've seen some independent artists make 6 figures on the back end on royalties alone because they done submitted 100 or 200 tracks, 500 tracks, and they getting placed on all their clients. They have these blanket deals that these production music libraries do with different studio houses where they're utilizing that song. But what you give up with a production music library versus a sync licensing agency, you give up that upfront sync fee. You don't get access to that. That's the production music library's fee because they bought your rights to own that song.
Okay, rock and roll. Makes sense. He said, okay, thanks. I'll check the agreements I signed.
Yeah, always check the agreements because usually no, but you may have a different agreement than somebody else.
All right, question. What music are you looking for right now, and how can music creators get on your brief list?
I'm not looking for anything particularly right now because I'm in a situation where I am in-house at another company pitching their music at Mass Appeal right now. But I can say the most sought after music that every single agency is always looking for is your fun pop, feel good, happy, positive, upbeat style music. That's always a need for that. For the sporting events, like we're going to get into one of the biggest sporting this is the biggest sporting times of the year where we just had the Super Bowl, just had NBA 2K, NBA All-Star game. Now the Madness about to happen, the Final Fours, then the NBA All-Star game. So there's going to be a lot of need for high energy hip hop, high energy, like just songs about sports. There's always a need for that, sync agencies. And how you get on someone's brief list is based on trust. I know who asked that, so I can follow up with you on that. But it's based on trust because a lot of times anytime we're pitching as a sync licensing agent, we're pitching to a music supervisor, we're putting our name on the line. We're putting our name on the line with you saying, hey, we have all our stuff together. Hey, music supervisor, use us. But say if something came back where we didn't have the rights for it or another producer came out of claiming rights to this song that you told me that we have, that could be a trust issue. So I think it's just building trust with that creator, that producer, that artist, with that sync agency, and knowing them, having your stuff together, having all your music in one place so you can submit to it. But also one very important piece is not sharing the briefs that you receive publicly. Those are confidential. A lot of times when I send out to people, that's why we utilize this program called Disco. So when I'm ingesting music for creators, I'm signing up to pitch their music, I'm already knowing what they have. But I'm not always sending the briefs out to everybody. So sometimes I'll go directly and say, hey, I see you producing this style of sound. Do you have any more like this in your catalog you can submit to me for this particular brief? But but it's based on, you know, building that relationship, me knowing what kind of music you do, or you telling me based on the initial conversation. But building that trust and getting on that, because there are some times where there have been some issues these last few years of where a lot of like briefs been going on social media. These are private. Some of these films, they don't even share the title of the films in the brief. So they don't share their brand. Sometimes they just say car brand, looking for this. And you're not supposed to share this out wide to people. It's all in house. You're supposed to share only internally with people that I'm signed up. I have an agreement with you. There's also a confidentiality clause in there saying, hey, anything you receive from me, all confidential. You cannot share publicly, because if you do, you will not get a brief from me ever again.
Oh, wow. So that's been leaking online. So the artists have been leaking. Is it the artists that have been leaking?
I've seen some artists leak it, because what happens is there are artists that build their own catalogs with a community of the creators. Like there's teams. Sometimes they'll have a team of, hey, I'm the producer, I'm the artist, I'm the songwriter, or I'm the top line. Top line meaning I'm writing the hook, the chorus, or whatever for that, right? And so they may have a team, so they may post it out, and then also they may have it was a Facebook group that happened a few years ago, and they just posted in there. There's a bunch of creators. They can submit songs to this person to then submit to the music supervisor. That's sometimes that happens because we're looking for other music. Sometimes we may not have it, like as a sync agent, I may not have sometimes the music they're looking for. So I may go out to some creators. Hey, do you have anything like this? And can you submit to me for this? But sometimes even that creator will go out wide to their groups, and then it just gets mass like leaked. And that's kind of how, you know how albums were leaked back in the past. You know, once somebody get that link, everybody got that link. But in this type of the world, there are very few leaks when it comes to this type of stuff, because we all have to understand we're working in a confidential project-based type thing. So we could be working on sometimes a TV show that has not even came out yet. You know, like for example, when I first received One of Them Days, the new TV show that just came, not movie TV, but the movie that just came out with Issa Rae. I didn't know when I first got that brief, the first brief for that, I didn't know it was for that movie. It wasn't until they reached back out to me, hey, we may looking at this song for this particular project. Send over the information or whatever. So that's why it's important not to share that wide, because we don't want the studio seeing that. We don't want music supervisors. They have to trust us that we're taking great care of the information that they're giving us to pitch to them.
That's good that y'all do that too, because I've seen films, especially like on like kind of lower end, meaning like maybe like $5 million or something like that, where they're keeping everything quiet. Like the key art, even the name of the movie is like a different title. Like they're in production and everything, and they're just keeping it way under wraps until it's time to come out. So that's cool that y'all could be trusted in that way and nothing like come out. That's crazy.
Yeah, we gotta trust the artists we work with, or that's a great way to get yourself off a brief list real quick. Because
and they'll know who did it, right? They'll know who leaked it.
Unless you go through the deep dive and tracking it down. I did know one artist that did it, but I won't name the artist. But I'm just saying I knew one artist that did it before, and I hit him on the side and said, hey man, I want to do that again, because that's literally how I wasn't working with them, but that's literally how you won't get placements, because they won't trust you to send those briefs.
But you know what? It's good that you did that, because some people just don't know. This might just be ignorant.
Yeah, it's clout. Artists is about clout. Like, they want to know, hey, I got access to this. Hey, send me stuff. Let's work together. Let's collab. They doing it for that. Not necessarily, I won't say clout. Maybe not everybody doing it. They say looking for that collaborative spirit, and sometimes they get overexcited.
They just excited. That's all. They're just excited.
I won't say clout. It's exciting.
That's funny. Patrick, he asked, how can we work with you? Maybe I don't know exactly in what capacity, but maybe you got some credential, like some emails or something. Do you like people to know how to reach you? Consulting,
I'm going to create a submission, a music submission. I can tell you how you work with a sync agency. There's always a music submission process. I have to hear the music first, because every artist and producer thinks they have the best catalog for sync. And then when I listen to it, because every song for the record can be synced on any project, right? There's so many projects out there. But a lot of sync agencies, we go after things we need more than other genres. Like for example, oh yeah, definitely. This music said watermark everything. Disco do have where you can watermark your music and stuff like that, and when you send it out to unreleased stuff. So yeah, but when some music submission, we listen to the music first. We check. We ask questions. Hey, where are you? Where are your rights holders? Where are the songwriters to the song? Where are the producers? Do you have any samples? If you have samples of your music and you're a hip hop artist, I get it. Hip hop is literally created off of samples. But in sync, unless your song is popular, we are not syncing. The music supervisors are not requesting to pitch to get your song for placement, because they have to then go clear with that the sample holder as well, which they always want more money. Like, I'll give you an example of a popular song that got synced for a WNBA game. It was Coil Ray Players, because that line said, because girls is players too. So music supervisors and brands, they'll clear a song with a sample, but it has to be popular. It can't just be, hey, I'm an independent artist, because again, the music supervisors know those labels got their lawyers and everything to clear those records, right? They're trusting that, because a lot of times independent artists, we know, we're not always using a lawyer to get a sample cleared. I know disco have it to where they're cleared for you, but it's only cleared for release. It's not cleared for sync when you do it through DistroKid. At least I read that based on agreements I read with them, So you may say, hey, well, DistroKid cleared it for me. No, not for sync though. They may have cleared it for you to release it that way, and a percentage of that record goes to that rights holder or whatever for the sample. So, but that's the submission process. So making sure all that stuff. Once that happens, then you get ingested. That's just as simple as that. I'm gonna create a music submission form, because I do have a point person that chose musicians. That is, we will be accepting more. I'm in the transitional phase right now for my sync agency, getting my person prep for that to take on more music right now. But I can refer you to other sync licensing agencies as well.
Rock and roll. We have a question from Casey Smith. Does the medium that the music will be used for impact the cost of the music license? So example, being on a movie versus like it being on a podcast.
Yes, it does. So I think in advertising is the biggest rate you'll see in sync, because like Super Bowl commercials, like those music can be anywhere. It can go to the millions sometimes just for that one placement for that song, because It's everywhere. It's based on how many eyes are going to see this project. You had 136 million people viewing the Super Bowl at one point in time this year. They sometimes the rate is based on that. Again, there is no rate cards. I'm just giving you sometimes how they come up with this number of what it should be. It's all negotiated. It's nothing that, hey, this got to be this kind of thing. It's based on kind of like real estate. What did this house sell for over here in this neighborhood? Same thing. Is this type of artist, this type of song, what can it go for? So advertising to me gets the biggest, and trailers, those big movie trailers, they get the biggest amount. And I think, and then it goes from movies to TV shows and then video game as well. So every medium is different for sure. Podcasting, for example, I don't know how much Shannon Sharp paid for this, but he uses Nipsey Hussle "Grinding on My Life" as his theme, is a theme song for his podcast. So there may be a theme song one-time fee rate that they'll pay up front, but it's a big rate because they're going to use it over and over and over again. So they'll pay that one-time fee, but I don't know how much they paid, but that's pretty much, it's different costs on it. I don't want to throw too many numbers out there because everybody get lost in the shuffle. Because also as an independent creator, I'm gonna talk about like about fees. Be willing. There are a lot of TV shows that don't have a big budget. Be willing, or a lot of independent films, but be willing to work with that filmmaker or work with that TV show. It's just one placement. You don't have to. You don't have to be. Oh, I only want all my music on to be minimum of $1,000. It's not gonna happen. There are TV shows that pay, 200 for instrumentals. There's some TV shows that pay 500 for full songs. Be willing to, if that's their budget. If everybody is on this MFN, meaning most favorable nations, meaning everybody that's submitting to this TV show gonna get the same rate. Why not? Why not accept that one placement, move on, use it as marketing for your brand, and say, hey, I got this placement to get others. Sometimes if music supervisors see you got places for other people, they, oh, okay, he knows the process. Good, I can work with them. Sometimes that happens sometimes, you know. And so I think be willing, but of course, know your worth. But in this instance, I think also, you know sometimes that it's okay to take that lower fee. It's not just saying your value is diminished. I mean, that budget for that particular film is lower. And usually they're not sharing, you know, the next studio not sharing, or the next filmmaker. And I'm not, oh, for that artist, I only paid him that. Now, you know, they're not sharing that kind of information. You can put that in agreement too, that, hey, I'm giving you this low rate, but you can't share this with anybody else. That's also can go into your sync licensing confirmation agreement. Shout out to Mousequake listening in.
Absolutely. That's good stuff, man. Do you know anybody that artists that are just making a good living just off of sync, and that's kind of like all they do?
Yes, and not just off of sync. I think utilize sync as just another revenue stream. You know how they always tell people to have multiple revenue streams? For artists, this is a one revenue stream. What's another revenue stream from artists? Live music, you know. Or what's another revenue stream? Brand partnerships. Like if you get your following up on social media, brands will come to you. I've seen companies like a Ray-Ban or other product utilize social media influencers, and sometimes those influencers are artists. They'll utilize their song, and hey, can you post this and pay you for that post? So I think sync is just another revenue stream. Yes, I do know artists that work with production libraries, or just they have a big catalog. Yes, a majority of their money is made on sync. But I think if you have a combination, I think you keep doing everything. But there are some artists that say, hey, I just want to be a recording artist, meaning I just want to record songs, try to get them from sync. I ain't looking to perform, but a lot of times, though, other artists have other ways to make money too outside of music. Okay. I won't quit your day job trying to do sync because it's a patience game.
Right.
I'll give you an example. Of a patience game.
Mm-hmm.
I confirmed the sync last year in March, right? That's just now getting about to get paid up for, right?
Wow.
The TV show just came out, so they'll confirm everything, but you're not getting paid right away. Like there, you get paid based on when that TV show airs. Also, don't share until it airs. Do not post on social media. That's another thing. You get a placement with a major TV show or things like that. Like I had to tell the artist I got a placement for that TV show at Abbott Elementary. Hey man, we're not posting until this thing airs. We don't post anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for real.
And so it's because they can also, we'll just take a song out. They do. I've seen that happen before. Oh, you done leak this information. We don't want to work with you. So I think, so just give me kind of perspective on payouts in sync licensing. It can take months at a time sometimes, depending on when that TV show or that movie may not be coming out for 2 years. And they not sending out invoices until closer to the release date, until they finalize the cue sheet. They finalize the whole editing process when the screen is locked, and sometimes even then, they're still maybe going back editing last minute. I've seen it happen.
True.
And they change out stuff. So don't quit your day job on it, but it definitely can be lucrative if the bigger your catalog it is.
I wonder what for advertising syncs, what's been the most popular synced song of all time. I wonder what that would be. I think about every time Christmas comes around, Mariah Carey or something like that. Sometimes I wonder about little stuff like that. Man, who's really getting it every season?
Well, Mariah Carey, you see it everywhere. She's definitely getting her payment every year for that. I'll give you an example of a most recent sync that revitalized the catalog. What's her name? Something Bush. I forgot her name. That was on Stranger Things. I forgot the artist's first name.
Oh yeah, was it from the 80s or 90s?
She had a song that came out in the 80s. Wasn't even the most popular song, but the music supervisors are tastemakers, so they're gonna find the gems, and they're gonna be like, oh man, this is a great song. Let me see what I can do about clearing this song. Kate Bush, thank you, the fingers, thank you. I knew it was Bush. That's all I got. But Kate Bush,
that's all I got.
That's all I had. But Kate Bush, just give you an example of, she ended up getting a publishing deal off of that one song. Like a label
What?
hit up, hey, what else you have? Like, what else can we get placement? But that Stranger Things placement, the streaming after that went up so high that, you know, she made a lot more money than she probably made with that song when it first came out in the 80s off of that one scene.
That's hilarious.
I give you an example. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Richard.
I was going to add to it because I remember my kids were looking at Stranger Things and they were like, all these songs are being reintroduced to them. Like we might know the songs, but they're being reintroduced to them,
Exactly.
and it's new to them. It's like a whole new generation of people. I remember what's the guy's name? Cyrus. Was Billy Ray Cyrus when he was on the rap song? What's the name? He talked about. He was introduced to a whole new, so like revitalized his career in a way, and people started listening to his music again. What about sync licensing in regards to like these social media platforms? Because like TikTok and things like that, and how music is being played, does that correlate to what you're doing?
Yes, you can get well, they do have social media marketing campaigns. Like there's a things you clear for with in sync licensing called paid media. So it's a difference between non-paid media where for example, like on TikTok, they have like a commercial library where artists can opt in for brands to utilize their songs on certain campaigns they're working on only for TikTok. But if you're doing like a paid campaign across with a brand or whatever entity across all social media platforms, you can get paid up front for that for sure. Yes, and it's like an upfront sync fee, and those get pretty good costs as well for those type of placements. But it's called the paid media, meaning like for example, Reginald, when you're paying for an ad and you're utilizing a song, you need to clear and pay the rights to use that song because you're selling a product, utilizing this song to sell a product. I'll give you the most recent example on social media, that mustard, that TV off. Heinz just used that part of the song that had a big whole campaign around that. And they got paid. That was also ads too, but it was a big social media campaign around it too.
How brilliant was that? That's why it pays to have people that are at the executive level and the marketing and those different departments that are like tuned into what's going on in culture. Because they can just get, I mean, your sales go up, you know, just creating a special edition of mustard. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was insane conversation. I actually pitched that, but that's no comment. I won't tell that whole story. I actually pitched that idea.
Yeah.
To Heinz, no joke. But anyways.
For real?
Yeah, that's it.
They was it's a good idea. Good idea. We'll take that.
Yeah, it's what it is, but it's all good.
That one's for free. All right. Okay. We have about 8 minutes left before we close out. Do you have like any like kind of advice you would like to leave the creator community with?
Advice I'll leave. Don't stop creating. Be patient. This is the music industry is in a transitional stage right now. And so you'll see like new ways of making money will come about probably from this whole transition. We don't know what it's going to be yet. With whole AI and stuff like that. Also, no music with AI, by the way.
Really? Okay.
Not until it's legalized. And so because another artist texted me that the other day saying, "Hey, I didn't use my voice, but I wrote it." I said, "No." So no AI. But boys, advice: be patient. Don't stop creating. Push your brand. Your brand is only going to get as big as you push it. Like when you get when you want a big ad placement, they're looking at your social media following. They're looking at your bio. They're looking at who you are for advertising. Not necessarily for film and TV, but if a brand want to pay for your song to sell a product, best believe they're looking into you. So if you want those, continue to build your brand online, your presence. Like that's very important. But patience is the biggest thing, and then consistency. Like don't stop creating music if that's your passion, because it'll be so many opportunities. You never know what song that is in the catalog. I remember going to Mouse Crate that one time. We didn't even know he had that type of song on Run Wrong Girl when we went to the studio. We said,
that's right.
Dark type song. Boom, he had that in the cut. Didn't even know he had it. But continue to be patient with yourself. Continue to learn your craft. Know the trends, because that's what's going to make you better than the next person to be successful in sync, especially.
Okay. Anybody that's here, we got a few minutes left. If y'all have any more questions, y'all would like to drop in the comments to let AD know what's up. If you got anything that you would like to be answered, now's your time. How's Mass Appeal? How's that been coming along? And kind of what do you do there?
I do the same thing. I'm pitching.
Mhm.
So Mass Appeal is owned by Nas and Peter, the CEO, and they're just I'm pitching their music for sing opportunities with their catalog that they have. We have people like Nas and Ghostface Killer, Wu Tang, and Dave East, Bodie James. A lot of the hip hop, like a lot of the hippity hip hop, I call it, like
Hippity
Fame.
hip.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
because it's like that hardcore, like that core hip hop, like the sound that you look for. And it's global company, but so it's pretty fun. Like I'm just a month in. I started the day the fires happened, so it's kind of weird. Like
Wow.
I couldn't even like I knew a lot of clients and a lot of my sync friends that was affected by the fire. So in the midst of me starting a new turning point in my career, but it's been good. I love it. Like this is something. It's gonna be after this year is said and done. I think I'm gonna look back and be one of these things for sure.
Okay, so where did the name Chosen Musicians come from?
You know what's so funny? So there was this basketball team. The word chosen in general came, it came from initially a Bible scripture, Matthew 22:14. But before that, before I knew that, the word chosen has always been in my vocabulary since I was in third grade. There was this basketball league in the church league, and there was this team called the Chosen Ones. And since then, that name has stuck with me. Like my first email ever, I'm not even gonna say it, but it was like had included chosen. So I can't access. I don't know nobody emailing. I don't know what's going on with that email. My first email ever in life, like it was the word with chosen was in it. So I was always using chosen, and then over time, this chosen musicians is what I came up with when I started this company in 2012. Like I remember I ran it by you a couple of times, Reginald. Like I had Chosen Ones Productions, Chosen Unity. I had a whole bunch of things, but then Chosen Musicians, and just so funny, you never know. I didn't even know I was going to be a manager or whatever, but now I'm in sync and my songs are getting chosen. So it's kind of interesting how this brand came about and it made right on point of what the universe wanted me to do anyways.
Let's go. Let's go. Fingers, ever have a need to trailerize songs from the Mass Appeal catalog? If so, let's chat.
Yes, we do trade a lot of songs. Trade a lot of songs is if a song has a good catchy hook, but it may not be as syncable in the production, meaning it's not as upbeat maybe, or it doesn't have like for a good sync track. I'll give you kind of the bed of it. A good sync track will have production wise will have a build to it. It'll be some epic moments, like some real big build up moments, similar to what EDM does, but not all the way EDM. But it can be something in a pop or a single songwriter song where it just builds up to this big moment in the song, and it has these ups and downs in the song, kind of like just different variations, different levels. There's a quiet moment. There's a song where all hands on deck, all the instruments, all the singing is there. So that's a good build to the song. But trailerize it makes it good for a trailer to editors that are working on these movies that can edit around. It's easier to edit around a trailerized song that has these big moments. And they do it a lot. They take the stems, another point where you need your stems. They'll take the stems and a producer will recreate the audio, the vocal track with a new bed of production.
Oh, that
And
made
it's,
me
it's
think
just
of.
another way to reintroduce that song to trailers. Like give you an example. If you sing the trailer for Transformers, that was a
Mhm.
perfect example of a trailerized song. Like it was Nas and Toby Nwigwe, and On My Soul, that's the name of the song. And they literally
Mhm.
the trailerized song. Or when Beyonce, when they did that I Got Five, or not Beyonce, but I Got Five or the
The
Lunas.
Loonies.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that in my brain. I was like, that was a song when that came out and that drop, they were able to make it like sound creepy. I was like, that
The song's
make you
already
scared of the
creepy.
song.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
song's already creepy as it is.
yeah, it's already creepy.
It's real dark. And they just took those elements and created it to fit a trailer. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that made it fun to like listen. And then I think there was another song.
They used
Um,
Beyonce "Say My Name." Somebody did.
yes,
They
that's
slowed
what
it down. What was that? What was that?
Candyman. It was Candyman.
Candyman. They had "Say My Name." They had a real like dark. I was like, what is this?
That you know what that kind of became a trend too. Like more people started kind of flipping songs now. Shout out to Jordan
Exactly.
Peele. After doing that trend.
Yeah, like it's. I think doing and that's also another way to kind of enhance your catalog. There are ways to do these covers. Like you do a cover of a song, you will own the master. If you don't use the original production of that song and you do a completely different vocals and completely different production, you will own the master. Then all you will have to do is clear the publishing side with the original rights holder. I give an example of that because I was watching this movie on Netflix. I stopped the whole movie because I heard Whitney Houston, "I Want to Dance with Somebody," and it wasn't the version. I was like, "Wait, what is this?"
Wow,
But
what?
the cover was so uniquely done. It was very, very minimalistic, single songwriter vibes. I was like, "This is perfect. Well, who did this?" But that's another way, as an artist, you can get with a publishing company. There are some publishing companies that they own 100% rights to certain songs. You work with them, say, "Hey, I want to clear this for the publishing. You own the master, and you'll get paid the master side of that sync fee, and they'll get paid the publishing, or they can also share the publishing too. Sometimes in those cases, it all depends on how big of an artist you are covering that song. But covers are cool. There's a cool like moment happening in sync, like real cool covers. It got to be like something that stands out. Kind of like when I was managing D&Chi, how they used to do Taylor Swift "Shake It Off." They'll do it
That's
not
right.
in they'll slow it down, or similar to what we did in hip hop in the South. Screw and chop every song. That was a different, different version of the song. But it wasn't a cover, but it was a different version and made it sound cool.
Absolutely. All right, we are wrapping up here. Where can plug whatever you have going on, any shows, whatever you got going on, also how you can be reached.
Yeah, so you can reach me on social media on all platforms. AD Johnson MIC. That's AD Johnson Mike. MIC stands for Music Impact Culture. On Instagram, LinkedIn, I'm AD Johnson. You can find me there if you're on LinkedIn as well. And you can go to my website, chosemusicians.com. If you want to get more involved with the sync agency side, I can refer you over there to the person who's running the company now. And then that's it. That's where I'm at.
Rock and roll, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, AD. Thanks for coming in, dropping these gems for everybody. A lot of people are interested but don't know necessarily, how to get involved in this aspect of the industry. So thanks for dropping those gems. And then everybody that's listening, to support Grind Over Matter Foundation, we're about bringing, professionals like AD Johnson to our virtual workshop. So we do that for free. So, just support our foundation at grindovermatter.org. We definitely appreciate that. And until next time, AD, I appreciate it, man. Y'all
Shout
have a
out,
good
man.
one. Peace.